Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Olivia. I'm a channeler, a creative doula, a uncontrollable creator, and a tarot and oracle card reader. And today, did you notice the light? I love it. I'm going to be doing a reading today, but please don't be distracted by me being distracted by admiring myself in this light. And I just did a TikTok on this, how like a lot of life is like aesthetic. At least for me, I'm a sidereal Pisces sun rising and a Taurus moon. So aesthetic is important. This is a whole like movie and I'm a character in it, and so aesthetic is important. And I made a whole TikTok about how lighting is so important, and it's just so important, and I love it. I'm loving the lighting. So yeah, I'm excited. I was like, I can definitely do more videos with lighting like this. It's very important. I love it. Anyway, so yeah, don't be distracted by me just enjoying this lighting. But I'm gonna be doing a new moon reading. Again, all of the readings that I do, I've seen a lot of people when they do readings, they'll be like, oh, when I do readings, my nose will start itching. And I think that's true for me too, because I haven't been doing this all day, and then the moment that I'm about to start this reading, I'm just like, my nose is itching. Anyway, I'm gonna be doing a new moon reading, and all my readings are timeless in a way. Like there's always something that you can kind of get. I mean, any reading is sort of timeless in a way, unless they're getting like super specific. But a lot of the readings I do is more about like especially today is archetypes, but archetypes are like processes, so it's not super specific. So like if there's something in there, there's something in there for whatever time, if you feel called to like watch the reading. But the new moon is tomorrow, on the September 25th, 2022. And so I'll be doing a reading on the new moon, and I'll be choosing the sort of like collective archetypal journey for this new moon. That journey will go through the like, if it's like a journey, let's imagine a journey like a hero's journey or something. We'll look at like the who of the journey, so who to embody in the journey, the sort of like role of the journey, of the role to embody in the journey, so the who of the journey, the setting of the journey, the where is the journey taking place, the tool for the journey, so what you either need to like put down or pick up. Loving this light. And then the purpose of the journey, so that'll be like the why of the journey. So yeah, let's get started. So the new moon is tomorrow, September 25th, 2022. I will be using Sidereal Astrology. I've been trying to get more into Sidereal Astrology because more and more on a personal level, I've realized, especially after hanging out with a lot of Tauruses, like people with Taurus moons, and like people who are Tauruses, so in Vedic or Sidereal Astrology, they're actual Aries. They're Aries in Vedic and Sidereal Astrology. And after hanging out with them and like noticing how I am and how they are, I'm definitely not, Aries energy is very like Mars, and you're like, people always tell me I'm the quietest Aries and the most calm and quiet Aries they've ever met. And I think it's just because I'm not an Aries. Like on tropical astrology, I'm an Aries. I like to think of it as like, for me, the way I see it, tropical can be more of like my action energy, my masculine energy, and then Vedic or Sidereal Astrology is more of like my feminine energy in a way. But so I can get to the Aries mode, but most of the time I'm not there. And it's because when I look at my sidereal placements, they just make way more sense the more that I observe myself and like really get into myself. So that's why I've been getting more into sidereal astrology. Also, I just think when it comes to like ancient practices, the East kind of does it a little better. The East has like, I just like resonate with the East more. The West likes to be in very much, you know, illusion and story and show. So sidereal astrology reflects what's actually like happening in the sky. And someone I was on TikTok, I'm rambling, but someone on TikTok was saying that sidereal astrology might be more of like the internal process, with in the tropicals like the external process. I don't know, but so yeah, I've been more into sidereal astrology. So this reading will be about sidereal astrology. I will be focusing on sidereal astrology, and you can look into your own sidereal chart. But sidereal astrology puts this new moon in Sidereal Virgo. So it's in tropical Libra. So whatever, you could also look at the house, whatever house you have tropical Libra or Sidereal Virgo in, if you're using whole sign houses. Yeah, just looking at that. So the new moon is the sun, the moon, Mercury, and Venus will all be in Virgo. Based on the Dana Lynn Knuckles, the People's Oracle Sidereal 2022 guide, astrology guide. This Virgo new moon is on, she says, she sums it up sort of as planting seeds to establish the facts. And she describes Virgo energy as meticulousness. It analyzes and puts in logical order using numbers and symbols, organizes and categorizes, knows via material and tangible evidence. So yeah, Virgo energy is very much it's interesting. So like I think Virgo energy, because in sidereal astrology I'm a Pisces sun and rising, and so it's like so yeah, Virgo energy is very much about the tangible. It wants to see in real life what is, it's an earth sign, so it really wants to see like in real life what the evidence is, and like it's like she said, categorize it, organize it, analyze it, put it in an order using symbols and numbers. And so I get that right now I feel like that's a lot of what the energy is. It seems like a lot of the energy in the air is like prove it type of energy, and that can be a personal journey of prove it, where people want to prove to themselves and like are really being faced with the hard evidence in their face of what they've been doing or not doing, and you know, yeah, just wanting like face value evidence, wanting to know, wanting to like all of that type of energy. And I think maybe if this energy is a lot of times I hear like if there's a whole lot of planets in it's almost like Jupiter's in Pisces, so it's on the other side of Virgo because they're opposites. They're sister sign, or they're opposite signs, and so Jupiter's in Pisces, so that's sort of like our context right now is, it's very Piscean. It's very intuitive. Our collective context is like intuitive, and it's like feeling a lot, perceiving a lot. And so then there's all this Virgo energy that may be taking what we're like feeling and intuiting and all of that, like the focus, all of our focus and like our communication and our relationships. I feel like right now there's like a lot of important conversations to be had, a lot of like, some people are like, a lot is like confronting relationships, or like getting more in an observation mode to really see the evidence. And so yeah, so I picked cards for this moon, and I'm going to look at the archetypal journey. So for the who of this journey, we got the healer. The healer. Oh, look at that. Look at how the light just like, you can see all the colors. You can see the details. Love it. I love it. But yeah, as you can see, so there's like the three-headed serpent, and I don't know exactly what this symbol is, but yeah, the healer. And so when I think about like the healer, this may be more of like, I'm still like transitioning from tropical to sidereal, so I might be like mixing meanings that might not necessarily be in the same system, but hopefully they're like relevant to at least this reading, or maybe they do actually link. But when I think about like the wounded healer, which this card alone just talks about the wounded healer, it's Chiron, and Chiron, it's Chiron, and the wounded healer is the idea that there's something that the wounded healer has something that they are constantly having to heal in themselves, and because they're constantly heal that in themselves, they can almost teach the topic, because they're just constantly, it's constantly like a wound that will never really be fully healed in themselves. And so they've had to go through it so many times, or they've been like meticulous about it. They've been meticulous about this certain part of themselves or journey with healing. And so the healer is knows that they're not ever going to be like completely healed, but the card described it as a constant breaking open of the self. So it's like you're constantly breaking yourself open, and it's almost like that Virgo energy, like you're constantly not only just breaking yourself open, but you're breaking yourself open, you're analyzing different parts of yourself, being logical, putting yourself in different orders. Maybe you're getting like super into astrology so that you can like take your personality and yourself and like place it into some characterization of like, you know, organizing yourself into like astrology, or maybe it's organizing yourself into like Myers-Briggs or whatever, or the Enneagram, or numerology, and so it's just like that. Maybe that's the vibe of like breaking open yourself, being this healer, and like and this is all to sort of like, it's not that any of these tools like tell us who we are. it's sort of like when you get your sort of like numerology read, or your astrology, or any personality test, it's like a remembering. And then this card speaks about the healer. The healer's job is to remember, return, and reclaim, and that forgetting is the source of suffering. And forgetting, it's one, forgetting that, which goes to the next card, which is the setting, which is the bridge. The bridge. This is the setting of the journey. So you have, let me put this down. The healer. So you have the healer at the bridge. The healer at the bridge. And the healer at the bridge, I thought of that as like this, going into like the Pisces realm. Virgo and Pisces are sort of like this, the bridge reminds you that you're like connected to two worlds, connected to many worlds. And so one, the bridge is saying that the healer at the, I imagine the healer at the bridge is, like I was saying, looking at seeing yourself in two different worlds. That's making me think about seeing, the idea of seeing myself as what I was talking about, like seeing yourself through tropical astrology eyes, seeing yourself through sidereal astrology eyes, seeing yourself through Myers-Briggs eyes, Enneagram, numerology eyes, and just breaking yourself open with these different tools that help you like remember who you are and reclaim who you are and return to who you are. And also, of course, thinking about relationships. And so the healer at the bridge can go different ways, you know, with Virgo. Being meticulous and analyzing and putting things into organizing into order and organizing and categorizing. It could be doing that with relationships. Because this is very much 7th house energy. That's what the chart I'm looking at that was made for this new moon. But the healer at the bridge is bridging, is healing, is being meticulous about like healing themselves by looking at and categorizing and organizing the different parts of themselves. So it's almost, I think about it as like calling yourselves back. I'm thinking about the 3-headed serpent. I'm also, with the bridge, it can be categorizing different relationships and how you're going to like show up in those relationships. So yeah, I'm gonna move on because I'm already at 20 minutes. So we've got the healer at the bridge with the medallion. The healer at the bridge with the medallion. And so when I saw this, I thought about the tool for the journey is the medallion. And when I think about a healer, it's like, what does a healer use to heal? The tool can be very important to a healer. Like, what are you using? Are you using herbs? Are you using, like I was saying, Myers-Briggs, or like astrology or numerology? Are you using like somatic exercises? Are you using like breath work? Are you using, you know, just like diet, nutrition, therapy, journaling, relationships, and just like connection? So it's like the medallion. Usually the medallion card is about having something tangible. So I think it will be something tangible because Virgo is tangible evidence. So when you're looking at these different relationships, it's the tangible evidence of the relationship. So like people's actions, people's like how people show up and like are willing to like show up in the relationship. But yeah, the medallion is usually something that it could be something that reminds you of healing, something that, you know, something tangible that heals you, like herbs, or it could be a reminder of like maybe cutting, because the bridge can be built, and the bridge can also be like, if there's too much weight on the bridge, or if there's too much weight on the bridge, it'll fall. So it can be a bridge that, because one of the in the card it talked about checking out the song by Aretha Franklin or whoever, but I like the Aretha Franklin version, Bridge Over Troubled Water. And so it could be a bridge over troubled water. So maybe the bridge is, you know, a healing bridge over troubled water. But then it could also be, so then either way, the medallion could be something that, because the medallion talks about like an object or something that has a lot of weight to it, like it has a lot of meaning to it. And with any object that you put a lot of weight into it, that holds some sort of like magical property to it, it could be something that you need to pick up and that might be used for healing. But it could also be something that you put down, because a tool is sometimes something that you need to put down. So it could be like, you know, a vice or something physical and evident that needs to like be kind of like removed or put down, something that has too much meaning, or like a meaning that's not necessarily lending to like healing. And then the purpose of the journey was Anima Mundi. And Anima Mundi is kind of like the world in the tarot card. It's about like accept all, reject none. It's just talking about like totality and wholeness and completion. And oh, one thing I didn't talk about was the energy of the new moon. So new moon energy is energy of like new beginnings. The sun and the moon are on the same side, so they're in Virgo, in the same sign. It's about like clean slates, fresh starts, resets, a time to set intentions, a time to like really yeah, I guess it is that time to like all of the energy accumulated from this past like lunar cycle to like organize it and categorize it, so that moving, like getting all the ducks in order, so that moving forward, you know, like what is the troubled water and what's a bridge over the troubled water. And under this guise of like accept all, reject none. So I think that's kind of, for me, that's kind of saying what I was talking about in one of my readings yesterday, or whenever I did it, was it's, so when Virgo using Virgo energy to categorize and organize things, it doesn't have to be on the category of good and bad. Anima Mundi, the purpose of this journey is not a good and bad. So it's not to say like, oh, this relationship didn't work because that person is this, this, and this, and go through this whole judgmental thing like they're a bad person. But it's just to organize and say like, this is a relationship where, you know, like sometimes you have like, these are the friends I can do this with. These are the friends I can do this with. These are, if, you know, it's not about like trying to change anyone, but it's really just like the Virgo, like you're not trying to change someone, but you're just trying to like organize people and categorize people without like necessarily judgment, but based off the evidence. So if you're like, this person and I, we cannot communicate, this is just not, this is making me think of the songs that I got. There's a song, which I'll get to that, but I guess it's like, yeah, if there's someone you just cannot communicate with, y'all just don't see eye to eye, it's not working, it can really just be like, okay, maybe you're someone that I can check in with occasionally, and this is the weight you had in my life, and this is what I learned from our interactions, and this bridge, you know, this connection taught me this, but we don't necessarily have to be like close or friends. Or maybe there's someone where you meet and you're like, this person, based on the hard evidence that I have of our communication, of how we show up together. Or it could be yourself, like there's these parts of myself. And looking into astrology, when I looked at my chart, it was a lot of stuff where I was just like, oh yeah, I do that. I do that. So it can be like looking at yourself and saying like, okay, this part of myself is really angry about this, and this is just like pure rage, and so we're gonna know this about that and know like the evidence of when that part of me kind of like shows up, or you know, stuff like that. The songs I got was, like I said, Aretha Franklin, Bridge Over Troubled Water, but I don't think that has to be on some sort of like martyr tip, because the lyrics are like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. And that's the one part of the song that I keep like going over in my head. I will lay me down. You don't necessarily, it's not, don't be a martyr. Laying yourself down to like keep relationships going, or to keep, don't lay yourself down so that other people, you can be a bridge to, you know, don't be a martyr, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, the healer does not have to be a martyr. The healer doesn't have to give and give and give of themselves for the whole. The healer can have boundaries. Yeah. The healer, the light worker, whatever you want to call yourself. The healer, the light worker, the shadow worker, the empath, whatever. Anybody can have boundaries. So I don't think it's being the bridge that, like being the bridge. The setting is the bridge. So it's being the healer on the bridge, in that bridge space. Sometimes the healer needs to cut you off. Sometimes the healer needs to cuss you out. Sometimes the healer needs to just like ignore. Sometimes the healer can have like that back and forth constructive conversation. And yeah, so the healer doesn't have to be the bridge. The setting is the bridge. The healer is the healer by remembering, returning, and reclaiming themselves. So yeah. And I think that's also important with the fact that it said this, a source of suffering is forgetting. And so the healer doesn't have to forget. I think what's important about this meticulousness and this organizing into logical order, and me talking about like boundaries and like relationships, is that you don't have to forget what happened, so you can, that is evidence. Like these patterns of the way people move and the way you have moved is evidence for future knowledge. And so don't forget that, because forgetting that and keep doing the same thing and picking up the same medallion, you know, is will be that is suffering. Like doing the same thing, forgetting that, oh, you've done this the last time we were together, and this, and then you did this again, then you did it again, but I'm supposed to just forget it so that I can be the bridge laying on the, like, you can lay me down as the bridge to, no. Which goes to my first song, which is, it was Rihanna, Shut Up and Drive. And the whole energy of that kind of song is like, is that evidence-based, like, where she's just like, I'm 0 to 60 in 3.5, I'm this, and if you have the keys, if you have the sort of medallion, or if you can meet me at this bridge, then shut up and drive. Like, shut up and drive. Give evidence, give forward motion, give forward movement. If I have no evidence, then it means nothing. And I won't forget that I continue to not have evidence, you know? And then the other song, so the Shut Up and Drive was sort of like, none of the two songs I got were not like, not that this isn't the time, I guess, I don't know. Shut Up and Drive was more of the positive sort of end of the songs, like, yeah, it's just a moment to really observe and analyze and organize, and to say, like, if you have it, and if the evidence is there, then shut up and drive and get us there safe. And we'll get there safe, or, show up at the bridge. And it being your own healer. The other song that I got was Leave Me Alone by CKay, which was on the other end of like, if there's bridges that need to like be left alone. So let me see this song. This song by CKay, it's new. His album just came out. It's just like, they're dealing with this person. I guess they're in love with someone else, but they're dealing with this person that's like bothering them because they're in love with someone else. And it's just like, yeah, this like the song is called Leave Me Alone. So I think that goes to the other energy of the healer at the bridge. Sometimes there's like, it's making me think of like, sometimes you need to just cut the foot off. Sometimes there has to be like amputation. Sometimes you have to remove, like, severing things is part of healing too. If you don't have that Virgo energy to look at the evidence, then it's like having a bridge. If you aren't looking at the evidence of the actual structural formation, like the structure of the bridge, and you just keep like ignoring that and going into like Pisces la la land with it, like, because Virgo is opposite Pisces and our context is very Piscean. So if you're in that, if you just stay in this like Jupiter context, and all of this Virgo energy is putting us opposite of that, to say like, to check that kind of like reality of like, if you aren't looking at the like structure of the bridge, it's gonna break and it's gonna fall. And it's better to handle the bridge before, you know, like the metaphors. It's a metaphor. It's like all the if there's stuff on the bridge and it all crumbles, you know, like just getting shit in order before the bridge is burned or falls down. Yeah. Okay, that's it. That's what I have. Thank you for joining me. If you would like a personal reading with me, then check the description box. My Instagram, and yeah. Thanks.